Trade season is upon the NBA, but is trade season upon the Denver Nuggets? And us personally, are we ready to dip our toe into the trade waters with this team?
I'll trade vote.
Well, I meant the Nuggets.
First.
Wait, did we?
Hold on. But
Oh.
Jimmy Butler is available. And man, there are trades, and then there's Jimmy Butler trades. We're going to break all that down and more on today's DNVR Nuggets podcast. I've seen enough. Oh, baby, this is going to be a controversial show. I can't wait for it. I'm excited for the controversy.
Are you?
What is, everybody? Welcome to the DNVR Nuggets podcast.
Let's go. Air horn.
We're missing our air horn today. Presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code DNVR365 when you sign up. Choose your offer and find out why. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Trades. We are on the cusp of trade season beginning. Man, I never thought we'd be here. It never hits us. We're never talking trades, but this year we are, and we're going to get into it. I got my man Harrison Wind here.
We haven't been in this state of mind since the pre-championship days.
It's so true.
Even sucks.
Then, we didn't really ever want trades.
Yeah,
you know?
we never wanted it.
Yeah, we have our own guys.
Yeah.
Is that still the case? I can't wait to find out. Then over here, D-Line Co.
Yeah, this is weird. Normally, we're just looking to get a backup five.
Yeah, it's like different one every year.
Usually we have a defined list of just reserve backup centers averaging under 15 minutes a game.
Yeah, but it's like never a trade. Yeah, so we're living in a new era, folks.
Yeah.
We are, man. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about all that stuff. I'm going to start with something fun.
Oh, that sounds fun.
really unusual. I'm going to try to be fun today, fellas. You know, we've talked around this a little bit. We've talked about it a little bit. Let's put the MVP portion of this aside. Because, I mean, again, who cares? It's so far away. I don't care right at the moment. But a scoring title?
Okay.
It's like every year he wants something new and something weird. Jokic finds himself right now basically at the top of the scoring title race. And I just keep thinking it's going to come back down to earth eventually. But I'll be honest, man, these last few games have me wondering, why would they go down? He's scoring really easily. The team needs him to score. He seems to have made the adjustment.
Yep.
Murray might be out for a while. I mean, he might be back, but he might be out for a while. And when he's out, Jokic scores a lot. So part of me started thinking about this. I'm not thinking about the MVP, but I'm kind of thinking about the scoring title in terms of like things that don't matter but would be kind of fun. A Jokic scoring title? Oh my God.
Dude, never even considered that.
I'd never thought about it.
Yeah. The man who once said scoring only makes one person happy.
Well, at a certain point, like you're trying to make who happy? Who else is going to be happy on this team?
That's true. Right. It's like I tried to make everyone happy. Nobody's happy.
Yeah, he's trying to make Russell Westbrook happy. He's like, I want to be happy.
I mean, all that aside, I honestly think Jokic just plays the style that he thinks is supposed to win. Although I will say this year is, you know, it is a little interesting how much Jokic is being aggressive. Who am I to question Jokic? I literally never question anything he does on the offensive end. There are times when I'm like, I wonder why he's doing that. And then later I'm enlightened to why he was. And you're like, oh, he was just ahead of me. And that's probably the case here. But there is a part of me that kind of goes, it is weird that Jokic is shooting as much as he is. But at the same time, he's scoring at this insane rate. I don't think he's going to win the scoring title. And I don't think this will be a conversation all year. But at this very moment, I'm looking at it going, yeah, I kind of just expect him to score 33 points a game every night, which is what he would take.
Yeah, I think part of it is a reflection of the roster he's got around him. And how he just thinks the best option is now for him to score. And last year he might have trusted a teammate a little more in a certain spot. Now his computer spits out the best option is for him to score in that situation. So he's shooting it. I think that's a big part of it. Another big part of it is just he's bigger and stronger and better than everybody. Yeah. Even to a higher degree this season than last year.
Yeah.
And it's just easier for him. And yeah, I think those are the two biggest reasons why he's scoring like this.
I like what Ray says. He put it succinctly. Passing makes two people happy. Scoring makes one person happy. Not scoring makes no one happy.
Right,
So
right.
Jokic's just picking the
So
best possible.
I'd rather make one person happy than
than
nobody
no
happy.
one. Yeah, so
that makes sense.
I think it's honestly
That
how
makes
it's
a
going.
lot of sense.
I would actually appreciate if Jokic looked at it in these terms, like passing makes 2 people happy. Scoring makes 1 person happy. Me.
Yeah.
Make me happy. Just score.
This is what I've always said about Jokic. I'm like, Jokic, your passing makes millions of people happy.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
actually, and his scoring
Right.
makes millions of people
That's
happy.
actually how we should reframe it: is passing makes 2 people happy. Scoring, when Jokic scores, it makes millions of people happy, and not just Jamal Murray. Yeah.
But here's my real takeaway from this, because I do think that if this is not winning basketball, right? It's winning as it's keep afloat basketball, which is what he's doing.
I mean, they are losing. So
But I'm just saying, none of us are looking at this and like, this is the ticket. Jokic just got to score 35 a game and they're going to win the title. It's like, we know that this ends bad because he needs more help. He needs more of a team. And at the moment, he doesn't have it. But when I think back to the Jamal-less years when he was injured, Jokic had to be more aggressive, and he learned something from that by necessity. And part of me wonders, D-Line, is he learning something from this that is actually going to be supremely valuable? It's like, you always wondered, how much could he shoot and still be efficient? Well, we haven't hit the limit yet, and maybe that's a lesson for him.
it's funny because it's the power that he has. Like, no one takes the idea that with great power comes great responsibility more than Nikola Jokic.
It's
Yes.
so true, man.
Yes.
It's so true.
He really feels burdened not to shoot up himself, but like he feels burdened to lift the team, to lift all other boats. And it's annoying because he's got like some pretty like non-floaty boats around him right now.
Some leaky life rafts.
Yeah, dude, like the tide is going and the boats are staying at the bottom. Like he's not actually getting everyone to lift. So to me, I don't know. It's just, there's something like really even more impressive about the idea that Nikola Jokic is fine. He's just like, okay. And he's off the scoring lead by 0.25.
I mean, he's climbing quickly over this last little bit. He'll catch it
Well,
at this
another
rate.
50-point game. He'll probably be in first.
But don't you feel though, Harrison, honestly, like this isn't the long-term plan, but I do feel like he's gaining a new skill from this. By being forced to be this aggressive, he'll have that in his back pocket. Hopefully not need it every night the way he needs it now, but it is nice to know like, hey, if I need 29, 30 shots, I know that's 50 points. Like
Right.
I feel like he might actually be growing from this trial.
Well, this is definitely the first stretch that's been this long of him being this aggressive.
By far, I feel.
He's had it in, a couple games here, a couple games there, even spurts of like 5-10 games.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty much been the whole season.
Yeah.
It's felt like ever since halftime of the second game of the year.
Yeah.
Halftime of that Clippers game
Just
when
like, God damn it.
he was playing his typical style and the Nuggets offense looked incapable of doing anything.
I honestly think that was it. Halftime of the Clippers game. So it's really 1.5 games down. All right.
Since then, he's been this score first dude. And I agree. I think it's a good skill for him to pick up now and just to hone in on. And now he's, also the best scorer in the NBA.
It's true. He is the best scorer in the NBA. I honestly think he's the best scorer.
love the idea.
Who else would be?
I think he's the best passer. He's the best scorer.
I
He's
love
the best
the,
rebounder.
But I love the idea. It's like, oh man, I picked up a new skill. What is it?
Well,
I'm the
he's-
most dominant scorer the NBA has ever seen.
He also might be
New
the best
skill
shooter.
unlocked.
Best three-point
New
shooter.
skill unlocked.
I mean,
with
Jokic-
his new secret adjustment.
You guys remember Jokic was averaging 18 a game, and I honestly, this is one L I'll take on Jokic. I was like, he probably maxes out at like 25 a game just by his natural skill set. And it's like, oh no, he could actually score 35 a game if that was his sole focus. I think that it's a new skill, but with it, Jeff Morton had an interesting thing that I really agree with. He just commented on that Jokic in some
Jeff
ways.
Morton had an interesting thing.
Notable
'Cause we're all
Jokic things
getting
this
new
year:
skills.
scoring, frustration, calling out teammates. He truly is becoming an NBA star. I actually think this is not even ironic. I think there are a lot of ways where Jokic is becoming a typical NBA star. Now, hold your horses. I'm not calling it.
I don't. Do I like that?
There's levels to this. He's not Kawhi Leonard. He's not Kevin Durant. He's not those type of guys. But I do.
We just hate him now.
Let's think about it this way. I had heard, some of the moves that happened that really changed the roster about 3 years ago. Namely Tim Conley leaving. How's Jokic feel about this or that? Like, oh, he doesn't want involved in any of this. Since then, I do feel like there's been a little bit. We know he wanted Russell Westbrook, for example. Like, there's been some other little margins. Bones Highlands. There's been little things that he has. Mostly because people have gone to him. Not like he's spoken up, but people have gone to him and he has given input. Whereas In 2018, he was like, hey, man, I'm a player. You guys handle that. And I do think that is, in some ways, a maturation. But if I look at him calling out the team a little bit, and even some of the comments, I do feel like Yoke's putting a little pressure on the organization in a way that he never has before. And to be honest with you, there's a healthy line of pressure a player can put on an org.
Yeah.
Too little, and maybe you hurt when you have a Kroenke who's like, all right, we'll take it. Too much, and it's like, all right, you're LeBron. You're changing things every 10 weeks. You have to make a change to keep this guy happy. There's definitely where these lines intersect, and hopefully Yoke's in the sweet spot, but I definitely think it's not what it was in 2020. I think Yoke is a little bit more aware of his own power and uses it very sparingly, but still uses it.
For sure. And there's also, different types of pressure you can put on an organization as a superstar. You can put on pressure of like some superstars where they're like, all right, you need to hire my best friend to be our, team security guy.
Happens on the Denver Nuggets even. There are people on staff that are buddies.
Yes, and that's the only reason they're on staff. There are, superstars that are like, I'm not playing second nights of back-to-backs. And I'm going to hire my own medical staff, and they're going to tell me what to do, and I'm not going to listen to you.
Yeah.
That's the type of pressure. The type of pressure Nikola Jokic is putting on is just like, I want us to win a championship. Like, I want us to be a better team. That's the best kind of pressure a superstar can put on a team. And he's doing that. I think I agree with you. He's doing that more and more. And he's also doing that with his play. Like playing like he is right now puts inherent pressure on an organization to be the best it can be on the court.
It's exactly, it's what you want your superstar to do, to put pressure on by making everybody else feel bad that they're not rising to the level of Nikola Jokic and what he's doing this year. It really puts a very glaring, unattractive light on anybody else who's not following suit. And it's pretty amazing. Like, the best thing about Nikola Jokic, what's the best thing about it? The best thing is that he's the son of God. Just kidding. He's God himself.
Yeah.
That's the best
number
thing.
one.
But one of the best things about Nikola Jokic is that he just he's just not a dick. He's just a good human being through and through. And even when he has uncomfortable things to confront, he goes about it in a way that doesn't upset the entire balance, get people, scrambling, running around, trying to figure out what to do. He's just like, do as I do. And he used his vocal leadership. This is something we've been calling for only because the Denver Nuggets appear to need it. He said one thing to the media, one very not even direct thing, just hinting at the idea that people are not holding or not, fulfilling their side of the bargain. And what happens the next night? The Nuggets look incredible. Yeah. They're like, oh my God. All right. Jokic called us out. It's like if your grandmother says something that you did something on Instagram and your grandma's like, what are you doing? You're like, I got to rethink things.
And just like putting pressure on the org, speaking out and speaking up to teammates, there is sometimes the scarcity of that card makes it so valuable. But at the same time, I actually think that the Nuggets are set up in such a way that, one, I do think he needs to put pressure on the org in some small ways, because I do think for all the Kroenkes have strengths and weaknesses. They really do. They're not perfect and they're not the worst ever. They're somewhere in the middle and their weaknesses are big. But one of their weaknesses I really believe is there's no pressure. They'll take it. If you're like, oh, you're letting me off the hook for this? Cool. I'll take it then. And it's like, you know what? I think you could look around and say, hey, some of the decisions you've made over the last 3-4 years are costing us and you need to fix those because you can't take me for granted. And again, I don't want him forcing his way out. This is not... no matter how bad things get, I want Yoke to stay with us in Denver.
That would be a classic NBA superstar move.
It would be, and I don't think he's. I don't think he's wired
to get Jalen Pickett playing time. Anything.
We got to clear the deck. He's the table setter. He wouldn't score 33 a game. He would be passing it. So dumb. But I just look at that and I go, I do think that Yoke can put a little pressure and is starting to put a little pressure. And somebody said their interpretation of his "you should hold the paychecks" thing could even be seen as a salary thing of like, yeah, you paid a lot of these guys a lot of money and they're not producing. Front office, I don't think so. I think you have to really squint to see it. But nonetheless, I think he is starting to throw his weight around ever so slightly, certainly not taking advantage of it, and probably could even scale it up more. But I think he is starting to understand that the strength of his own power there.
Yeah, he is. Natural development of a superstar at the point where he's at in his career. I mean, how much do you think just winning another championship pulls into this, and he's like, I'm in the prime of my career.
If you win one?
Well, he's like, but how much of it is like Jokic is at the point of his career where he's in his prime and this is like a golden opportunity to win another championship?
To D-Line's point, I think he's supremely aware of those things.
Yeah,
of like,
I agree.
I'm in this window right now, and we've really only had one shot. We're halfway through it by Calvin's own admission, and I've only had 1 year where it was even possible, and we did it. So there probably is a little bit of an awareness of like, man, how long can this happen, and how far away are we? So I don't know. I just think he is. I think he is aware of his own power in ways he hasn't been, and he's starting to use it. And Jokic has some superstar things. I mean, how many supercars does he own? You know, it's not like he.
How many watches does he own?
These are
How
bad
many
things.
suits
By the
does
way,
he
this
own?
is not a criticism. I'm like, you have money. You should spend it on things that make you happy. Like he earned that money.
I don't think he's aware, like he's suddenly aware of his own power. It's just like he's suddenly realizing he has to use it.
Yeah, yeah. That
Just to bring it to my world, like I know that if I could get Harrison fired if I wanted to, like I could definitely make that happen.
We should
In fact,
do
like
it.
this is actually, hold on, let me make a note here.
Yeah.
But point being, like, there's a different, like when you have power, but like things are going well, there's no point. Like it's better to actually let people get to where they need to go on their own accord, to grow into their own and dovetail into the things you're already doing. It's not great, in my opinion, when you have to sort of like force the will to make people bend and change, because you sort of like want to find a natural, which the Nuggets had. Like they had this several years ago, but like for whatever reasons, I mean, number one being it's early season. Number two being like guys have different motivations. The team in general we talked about this before, but the team in general has hit a new level. They're no longer a young team. They're no longer a developing team. They're a fully established team with the clear best player on it in the league. And now it's not about necessarily playing for each other. They, like Coach Malone was saying, it's like, it's not, I don't think that is a motivation you can rely on anymore. I don't think that the 96 Bulls were playing for each other. I think that they all just independently wanted to be professional and wanted to win.
Let's take a break because I want to talk about that a little bit more before we get into the trade stuff, because I think that's a very interesting comment. But let's take a break. We'll get to that on the other side.
Guys, check out Game Time.
Oh, hell yeah.
If you need tickets to concerts, shows, sporting events.
You know what you can't do, though?
What's that?
Eras Tour. It's over. No Game Time for the Eras Tour. Don't even look. Taylor Swift is taking. She's only made $2 billion. She's going to take a little break.
Yeah. Until the next tour. They have a great feature called Game Time Picks. It makes getting tickets for live events even easier. Game Time Picks. They filter out all the fluff to show you only the incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Beautiful app that you can use. You can see it right there on the screen. It tells you the price of every ticket in the arena that you can buy. You can get a view from your seat. You can get all-in pricing as well. So you know what the ticket is going to cost with fees and everything. Lowest price guarantee on Game Time as well. It will credit you 110% of the difference. You can take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code DNVR for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code DNVR, $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
Game time!
Not Taylor Swift Eras time.
Not Taylor Swift Eras time. We are excited to also tell you about our newest partner, Verizon. 'Tis the season to switch to Verizon. That's right. Right now, you can get $200 in Verizon gift card when you switch and purchase a select phone on select unlimited plans. So start the holidays off right with a great network and use that gift card to start checking other great tech gifts for off of your list, like smartwatches, tablets, headphones, and more. You get the 5G network that powers your day from calling mom before takeoff.
And Mom, sorry I haven't called in 6 months, but I'm about to take off.
But I got a new Verizon, so I'm calling. I'm about to take off anyway. I'm gonna let you know. Or from streaming jams. You love jams,
Dude,
you're streaming jams all the time.
I love jams.
Yeah, you're big into
Raspberry,
jams.
strawberry.
Well, that's not where we were going here.
Oh, we're not streaming
I have a nice
strawberry
cranberry
jams?
jam. You wouldn't guess cranberry jam. I'm very into it.
All right,
Verizon's
okay.
got you covered with their award-winning network performance. And also, they have this good deal where you can trade in any phone, any condition, guaranteed for a great deal on a new one with the unlimited plan. A faux trade-in from Apple, Samsung, or Google. Switch now and get $200 gift card only at Verizon. $200 Verizon e-gift card sent within 8 weeks. Requires device payment purchase. Minimum retail price of $799.99. And poured in with new smartphone line on postpaid unlimited plans or unlimited plan required.
Unlimited.
It's an unlimited ultimate. I thought it was unlimited.
This is the DNVR Nuggets podcast.
I'm Ron Burgundy. Here you have an interesting take. We're back here, by the way, on the DNVR Nuggets podcast, segment number 2. You had an interesting. We actually were having this conversation offline.
Oh, were we?
Sometimes we talk about the Nuggets not on a podcast.
We actually don't have anything else to talk about in life. When we see each other in social settings, we start talking about Nikola Jokic. But that's not just us. That's what I do with
podcast
everybody.
is actually 14 hours long.
Yeah.
It's just 1 hour of it is
Right.
public.
It's constantly running.
It's just constantly running. But
Only 1 hour just on video.
But one of the things you talked about, and it's sad.
Go.
It's a little sad because the Nuggets won a title in 2023 with guys that it seemed truly loved each other, played for each other, and there was this connection that almost felt like a high school or college basketball team where it was like, man, these were our guys. We've been through some battles, and this is a brotherhood. And you think, well, that's the reason they won. But Eric, you kind of speculate that might not be necessary in Nuggets 2.0, that they might have evolved into a new era where they don't actually have to like each other or anything else. They need more now professionalism than love.
Most assuredly. Like the Nuggets have grown up. They have grown up not only through their experience, but like their lives have all changed.
Yeah.
You know how this goes in your life too, where your best friends are your everything, and then you meet your wife, and then and it doesn't mean that your relationships that you have with your fellas or your work life is any less important, but it just is different. It's not where you get all of your life validation and everything. And all that to be said is that, yes, like the Denver Nuggets are now in a place where professionalism needs to be valued above the idea of, playing for each other, loyalty, all of these things that are important, but I just don't think they can be that anymore. Like now it just has to be like, I need you just to do your job. I need you to be here on time. I need you to know that in the off season, you're going to be doing the best to perfect your skill because it then will help all of us. And they're just in a place where it's not just like, hey man, look to the guy on your left, look to the guy on your right. Like that's all there.
All for one and one for all.
That stuff is there. But a lot of it just comes from like, bro, I know I can count on you. Like,
you do your job.
We're professionals here. We're here to do a job. We're going to go in. We're going to kick the shit out of the Minnesota Timberwolves, and then we're going to go home. We're up 20 points. Yeah. And it's just...
Why'd you remind me of that?
What are you talking about? That's a guaranteed dub.
A theoretical circumstance.
But the point is it's just like they have evolved, whether they want to admit it or not.
Is that less than, though? Is that a lesser experience?
No, it's not.
Because it looks the same from the outside. It's like the shell of it is still looks the same.
Definitely. And the example I just brought up of the 96 Bulls, you go back through, those guys hated each other. Scottie Pippen was had...
98. It was the end of it, but yes. 98.
Point being, though,
sure.
but that doesn't mean that they can't get the job done. It's just
Right.
like, it doesn't matter. It's just like you guys are playing together and you need to care about each other in as much as it gets the ball into the basket and you are talking on defense and all this stuff that like supersedes just like, and it's like, but we should all feel that way. But we're, like they just need to evolve and grow up. It's a growing up thing.
Sports are not a science, though, and they're not an art. There's something in between, though. And that's what makes them great.
They're both.
Because it's like a band. I feel like a band would have a hard time making a great album if they hated each other. I mean, it's happened a handful of times, but for the most part, bands have a connection and it allows them to create this great art.
Hate each other, but it's like each other can't be.
They
the
don't
motivation.
have to be going to like movies on the weekends.
It does just they can't playing for each other. I don't think can be the motivation anymore.
Yeah. Do you like this take?
It's probably the right take, but I'm not ready for it yet. It
feels more mechanical almost.
I want the Nuggets to still be the only good thing about the NBA. I don't want us to be a normal team.
Yeah.
A normal contending team.
But I think you can still be.
I want the Nuggets to
They can still
be
have virtue and things.
family and about the vibes and the most connected team, and it
I
still
still think they
feels
could
like
do
a
that.
college locker room. Like
Wow.
maybe that stuff is gone, and I'm holding on to just something that isn't there anymore. But that's why I'm like, I don't want to enter that area.
Well, we're entering it for one way or another because now we need.
I told you the era is over.
Because
Era's over, dude.
Because this is before we get into the Jimmy Butler scenario. It's just I think that it's time.
Dude,
I'm curious if you guys agree with this statement. I think it's time for the Nuggets to consider the fact that that it's time to make a trade to break up the big four. You know, you talk about the core. It was a 5 with KCP, but KCP was, I think, probably the 5th of that core. And now you look at it and you go, Michael Porter. I mean, Jamal Murray can't be traded until the offseason, so you can couch that for a little bit. But right now, Michael Porter can. And you look at that and you go, yeah, but he's been through it all. They drafted him, the surgeries, like he's been part of this ride. And part of me goes, every other team just makes trades, and that's why we're us and they're them. But this might be the time where it's like, you know what? Would it feel weird to you if the Nuggets traded away a core piece at this moment? Yeah. It would?
To me, yeah. And again, maybe I'm still holding on to that thing that's not there anymore, but I am. Me personally, I'm not ready to trade away a piece of the core yet. Right? At this point on December 10th, 2024. I'm not quite there yet. And I don't want to. Like, I'm still holding out hope for, you know, the perfect timeline of this group being able to win multiple championships together. I'm still there.
But they won a title. I mean, there's part of me that's like, it's not that bad. They won. It would be weirder if they didn't ever win one because you like them. But they won one. And it might be like, all right, the real through line is Jokic. And like everything else is.
My feeling on this is that like they shouldn't seek to break up the core, but they shouldn't shy away from the idea. Like if something presents itself, you know, should it be a Jimmy Butler? I don't know if that's the answer or not, but I'm saying if there's something that would be a clear upgrade, or at least seemingly a clear upgrade, they should be very open to that. Like Michael Porter Jr. for Bogdan Bogdanović, I feel like is a clear upgrade in a bunch of different ways. What? And it's just if vibes.
Oh, okay.
A vibe upgrade. But
and an execution one. When you talk about professionalism, as much as we love Porter, he's more talented, I think, just in terms of like raw. That's an unstoppable thing he does. Yeah. But I do think when you talk about professionalism, Bogey knows how to play. He knows how to play with Jokic. He knows how to play team basketball. He knows how not to make mistakes. Like he does the things that would be like, all right, well, every night he comes and does this. He's like the Michael Porter or the Christian Brown of Michael Porters.
That's so true. That's another.
He's the Christian Brown of Michael Porter.
Just saying, like he's gonna do what he does every night.
Yeah.
In
so
the
he's
Michael
worse
Porter
than
role.
Michael Porter.
But I think more consistently, like Michael Porter right now, like is for all of his virtues, all of his good skills, he's the most mistake-prone player defensively on the Nuggets roster, and I know that drives the team nuts. And they wonder, can we win in a playoffs if you have if you have that, with Murray at the level he's kind of looking like he's at.
Sure.
So I think there is something, and even offensively, Mike doesn't always get to his spots. I know it drives the team nuts, but he doesn't always get there because sometimes spacing is thinkless.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm certainly not in favor of just making it like we have to get rid of Mike. We just gotta find anything. But I'm saying just in general, like we can't be so precious about this roster anymore because first off, yes, they already did win, and second off, like it's not like keeping it doesn't when it's the 4 players, it doesn't feel like Draymond and Clay and Steph having to keep those 3 together. Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, both of those guys feel like they've benefited greatly from Nikola Jokić. Obviously, in the end, it is going to be Nikola Jokić as the through line. I don't want this to happen, but I'm open to it.
9 years is so long for 2 players to play together. Like if you think about Dirk. Mm-hmm. When they won the title, was there any player that was on that roster for 9 years leading up to that? Probably not a single one. There's usually a lot of turnover over 9 years. Denver basically has Porter, Murray, Jokic for all that, and AG for a lot of that. Mm-hmm. And so there is a level of like, I don't know. I'll be honest with me. I think I am ready for it. But there's another question here that I brought up the other day, which is, the fan base hates Cal and they don't trust him. But the fan base also wants him to make a big move. There's part of me is like, you didn't like any of the moves he made, but you want him to make what might be the Nuggets' last ever move for the next 10 years, which is also part of this,
It's why I think a move now might still be a little premature.
It might be.
I still think the season's pretty young.
It definitely is.
The Nuggets have had so many guys in and out of the lineup. They really haven't had the, consistency that I feel like we've needed to get a true 100% gauge on the team that they are. That's why I still think it's a little too early to make a huge deal. Maybe that comes, in a couple months. I think we might have a better idea of where the Nuggets really are then. But right now, I think it's early.
Yeah. I mean, look, I honestly don't think it's early to be discussing these things. Deals don't usually happen on December 15th, which is the date when all these players become eligible to be played. So it's the 15th of December. Jokic is the unofficial start of trade season. I'd call it early season. but it's still when it begins. So that's why the discussion comes up. But at the same time, we saw the Nuggets last year, and they're off to the start that they're this year. I just don't think it's early to be discussing those things, and I don't think it's a panic. The chat's, why is everybody panicking? I don't think it's a panic. The Nuggets aren't trying to be a top 3 seed. They're trying to be an NBA champion.
Yes.
We know how hard that is. That's different than just trying to be a top 3 seed. And, at the moment, it looks like the Nuggets are headed for something less than that. But you know what? Time will tell. Anyway, if they do make a trade, the hot name today out on the market is Jimmy Butler. Maybe the most polarizing player you could throw into a theoretical trade in ways that are so fascinating to talk about. I can't wait to do that on the other side.
Guys, check out our friends over at Empire today. If you have any flooring needs, you can get $350 off when you go to empiretoday.com/DNVR. Empire Today, they're the best floors in the business. So if you're putting in new floors in your house, in your office, your business, wherever it might be, Empire Today, it's really the only call that you have to make. They make the process really easy for you. They're not going to overwhelm you with all these, details, and they're not going to try to get one over on you. They're the best at what they do. They're great people. They're the best place to get new flooring. Nobody beats them on quality, service, and speed. Their philosophy is to help you find what you need and not overwhelm you with thousands of choices and substitutes. You tell them what you want, you tell them your vision, and they will help execute it for you. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners to this podcast can receive a $350 discount. $350 off your floors when you use the promo code DNVR. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/DNVR for details.
Also want to tell you guys about Miller Lite. A lot's changed over the years. A lot of companies have made trades.
We've started talking about trading Michael Porter Jr. That's new.
One thing that hasn't changed, the great taste of Miller Lite. It was the original light beer, and to this day, it's still the best one. Miller Lite has more of the taste you want and less of the stuff you don't. I'm telling you, we drink a lot of Miller Lights here, man. We do. When we get a bucket, it's Miller Lite, and they have that can that's so perfect.
Yeah, I should actually talk to these people and just let them know, unofficially it's already happened, but any tweets I'd make after the hours of 11 o'clock should be sponsored by Miller Lite because they're fueled by
Fueled by Miller Lite.
Miller Lite. Yeah. It's like a light beer that tastes like beer. It's less filling and only 96 calories. The original light beer since 1975, back when D-Line was born. Times change, but you can always enjoy the great taste of Miller Lite. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, I know you like that. There are days you love to not even leave the bed, just have everything brought right to you.
You know what I usually
do? Miller Lite.
I'm like, I'll take a 12 rack of Miller, a funnel, and here's the code to get into my house. I'm in bed.
I don't have to move. Just give me the Miller. Go to MillerLite.com/DNVR. Always use that /DNVR. Or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces.
You know the worst part about that read is that that's the second or third time that somebody said 1975. Oh, right when D-Line was born. I'm like, but it's 3 years off.
That's why it's so great. This is a slight exaggeration.
I was born in 1978. I'm like,
what do you think? I'm old?
Close enough. Round down to nearest 5.
So Jimmy Butler here. This is what's funny, man. Nuggets fans, based on my mentions on, you see them different conversations, very against this. And I'm kind of surprised why. Because Jimmy Butler is a winner. He's a heck of a player. He's tough. We talked about Westbrook comes here and adds some toughness. He's a really good player, albeit inconsistent, but in the playoffs, he plays his butt off. He's a phenomenal defensive player. And as great as Michael Porter Jr. is, I just look at what Jokic has done with Westbrook, and I go, it's not that spacing is overrated. Spacing next to Jokic, he makes things work. And I look at it and I go, if you gave me Christian Brown, Jimmy Butler, and Aaron Gordon defensively, that's basically as good as any team's 2-3-4 defensively. Yeah. And then we're at the same spot. We need Murray to return to Murray's form. But assuming he can do that, you would actually have a phenomenal squad around it. And I just look at it and I go, it's tough. There's a lot of risk. We'll get into all the different risks, but I look at it and I go, the upside of that is a championship team in my mind, no question about it.
He is a winner who has not won anything, but he is a winner.
He's won the East twice.
He has won the East. Yes, he has.
And he's led, that's impressive given the squads they've had.
I'm kind of poking fun at it. He is a quote-unquote winner. Absolutely. He's a winning player. And defensively, you're totally right. defensively, he is a NBA Finals level guy.
Yeah.
You know, he's a guy who
and that was as the number 1. Come here, he'd be the number 2, maybe the number 3.
Right. He can elevate himself defensively to an all NBA level in those big moments. And like that is the type of guy you need in those situations. He's a star. I think he's the type of guy who would get along with Nikola Jokic. I actually think they have kind of similar personalities in a way.
Just real. Jimmy hates fake.
Yeah, they are real in that regard. I think there'd be a respect there too. And yeah, if we're just talking about fit, you do wonder who would shoot any threes on the Nuggets at this point.
not a lot of guys.
Yeah.
I mean, but also what's new? They had a game with 5 threes the other day, 3 of which were Jokic, 2 were Strawberry.
Well, I know, but this would be swapping out your best 3-point shooter for nothing, pretty much.
I think the idea would be that because Jimmy Butler makes $50 million, you're not just giving up MBJ, you're giving up other guys, and you would probably use your open roster spots to sign a Holiday and probably another shooter. Like you would replace Porter's shooting in role players, and hopefully add like 2 at least guys that can just spot up in the corners.
That's a lot to replace with minimum role players. But from a fit standpoint, I'm with you. I think it does make sense. It does help. Like I could see the vision. I could.
Yeah, I'm definitely of two minds. I think that Jimmy Butler's the best name that is available. So it makes you ask. If you told me like, if the Nuggets were going to trade Michael Porter Jr., hypothetically, who would you want to get for him? I don't know how long it would take me to get to Jimmy Butler, but it would probably be a while. Like I don't see him as a natural fit with the Denver Nuggets, but I also see him like you see him as a very tenacious player, a player that comes in, plays with fire, a player that can...
And puts fear, by the way. I think there's a fear factor that like Mike has a 0 on.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think Jimmy Butler puts fear in guys.
Most definitely. Yeah. I mean, like, and you know... Like,
he's a foxhole guy, too.
Oh, total foxhole.
First team foxhole guy.
Dog hole. He's in the dog hole. There. He's an absolute dog out there. But the thing is that, like... And he... You know, nobody hates Cat more than Jimmy Butler, which is like another thing that would be great for Nikola Jokic. Like, I just think that those two would be, and plus, if you're talking about retaining Jamal Murray, you're right. We lose all of our shooting, but I don't know.
Well, the other thing about the late game, so for shooting, is you think, okay, the Murray-Yoke 2-man game, which is obviously a staple, although this year less so. But to me, Jimmy Butler, it would be like Russell Westbrook in the pick and roll. He's a good player there. He can dribble. He can get to the rim. He can get to the foul line. But more importantly, I think if he got here, he'd be like, oh, so if Yoke catches the ball within 14 feet on the roll, it's a basket. All right, that's not hard. You just turn the corner, put pressure on the rim. This is what Westbrook does. He turns the corner, goes as hard as he can to the rim so the big has to step up, and then he just throws it to Yoke. And Yoke's like, all right, 8 feet away, bucket. And I think Jimmy would be similar, and that at least gives you Murray as a floor spacer. There's at least a concept around it that I like, and then you can go to the Murray-Yoke 2-man game. Your spacing is going to be a little bit tough, but it gives you a secondary point of attack, which I think the Nuggets have never really had in the Jokic era. It's always been Murray-Yoke.
And I actually like push very hard back against the idea that everyone has to attack basketball in the same way, that because the Celtics are shooting a lot of threes, because the Warriors are shooting a lot of threes, that means you have to shoot a lot of threes. That's how it works. I just think that there's lots of different ways, and just the fact that how basketball is played in different eras speaks to that. Like, I think if you can, I mean, I talk about this all the time. If you can score every time down, that's valuable. That's very valuable. You just have to be able to defend on the other side, and you'll win the math problem. If they are scoring every time down and hitting threes, you're in big trouble, which is what happened against the Wizards.
The way I would view Jimmy Butler in the Nuggets, though, or with the Nuggets, is more similar to Aaron Gordon than Jamal Murray.
Yeah, like I think he's in between, but
I think he'd be more of an Aaron Gordon than a Jamal Murray. Now, Aaron Gordon, he has a bigger role in Orlando, comes into Denver, is all of a sudden, a superstar role player. I think Jimmy Butler, better than Aaron Gordon, probably in the role he is now, but I think coming to Denver, he'd be in the superstar role player category.
Like Westbrook.
Yeah, in a way. But that's kind of the light I would view him. I view him as, just maybe a little better Aaron Gordon.
Could it also be that he helps the bench, which is really all that's needed as a regular season? Like, okay, now he comes in, he's your stagger off the bench, and at least it's somebody you can play through who I don't think he's a dynamic offensive engine like for those minutes, but you know what he's not going to do? Turn it over for transition points, take shots out of position. Like he's at least going to slow it down, make it a grind, and there's no transition either way when he's on the court, which to me would feel like a win.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a huge benefactor to getting him. You can shore up the bench. Actually, I might be in now.
Your lineup is like your bench is Westbrook, Jimmy Butler, Peyton Watson. Like it's a bunch of defensive dogs that it's like, all right, it's offense is going to be ugly, but that's a team
so ugly.
There's a lot of teams in the NBA that would be terrified to be like, all right, we're putting our rookie point guard out there against Jimmy Butler, Westbrook, and Peyton Watson. Like that's 8 turnovers in a row, So I feel like there's something there. So I actually am very pro the idea of Jimmy Butler in Denver. I just think that he would get Denver, like with Westbrook, Jokic would get the most out of him, and it would actually look amazing. But here's the problem. He makes $50 million a year, which is a lot of money, and you're having to give up a lot.
$15 million?
You're probably you might have to give up Peyton in this deal because it might be Michael Porter.
I don't think so. I've already gamed out
What
the deal.
What is the trade? Porter,
Michael Porter, Zeke Naji, and then one of a Vlatko, a Hunter Tyson, one of those types of guys.
If that's all it costs, first of all, for me, I look at it and I go, it's Michael Porter, and I honestly think the team, more than anything, like you saw how well Serbia ran in the summer. It's not like they had this dynamic shooters all over the court. They also had a deficiency, but when everybody is pulling in the right direction, it's like, all right, man. And I think Jimmy would pull in the right direction. He's a smart player. He knows how to play, and he would respect Jokic. I really believe he would respect Jokic to be like the way Westbrook does, where he's like, all right, that's the guy. So where do I fit into that? I think Jimmy would be the same, but he makes $50 million. He does have an out in his contract, which I think he'll exercise, although it'd be kind of dumb. $50 million? He's not getting that on the open market at 36, but nonetheless, he probably looks for a long-term deal. So you're struck with, you bring him in, and no matter what, you're looking at extending him to his 40, or you're looking at him walking away, and you just used a big trade piece, Michael Porter, to lose him. So there's a real risk on that side of it.
For that reason, I don't like it.
And the last piece of this, he gets injured a lot. He does play in the playoffs, but he does miss a lot of time.
He's old, too.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of miles on him.
He does. He does, but if we're talking about specifically Michael Porter, like I feel like the Nuggets have gotten to a point where they have gotten what they can reasonably expect to get out of Michael Porter. Like I feel like every time he steps in the court, it's even though we don't acknowledge it.
He's maxed out, I think, here.
But also just like with his health and just everything, I don't know that you can expect him to do any more than he's already done. And I don't know that you can just rely on him being on the court as regularly as he has been, even though it's been incredible, knock on every piece of wood. Like, but I don't like the idea of trading for somebody that is that far along, and with the uncertainty coming up in the offseason, really would be an all-in move. And like,
if you go into next year,
great point by Laking Ball. He literally didn't play in the playoffs last season.
Well,
that is a valid point and a cause for concern.
It's his health is obviously a real concern. I think bigger than that though is just if you did make this move, because Michael Porter is one of your tradable contracts. If you brought him in and he just walked or wasn't healthy or whatever it is, worse would be if he injured himself bad and then just opts into his contract, and you're like, well,
there you go.
So there's some
take a couple second rounders to get off that one.
There's some major risk long term, and I don't know that the Nuggets have demonstrated an ability to navigate the murky waters that would come with Jimmy Butler being in a contract here. I don't know that the Nuggets have the.
This is us turning into the real NBA again, which I don't like.
Yeah, but I do think just in terms of an on-court product, you just would have a team on there that I'd be like, you know what? Nobody wants that. Nobody wants Jokic. Okay, that's a problem. Physically, it's a problem. Skill-wise, it's a problem. All that stuff, it's a problem. Westbrook's a problem. Butler's a problem. Like there'd be a game plan that a coach would go in and be like, man, there's a lot of landmines to navigate against Denver, and I think that's what you want.
You really think it's much more of a difficult game plan than with Porter?
I think with Porter, every team does the same thing. I've talked about this in our season preview. Every team, when there's a timeout, just watch where they put Michael Porter. They always put him at the low man. Yeah. If they don't put him in the action, like up in the ball, sometimes they'll do that. But if not, they'll put him on the low man because they know he misses the rotation half the time. And when he does rotate, he's just not intimidating. Nobody's like, oh, crap, Michael Porter's at the rim? No.
Right. You're thinking about it when the Nuggets are on defense. I think you're absolutely right. When the Nuggets are on offense, I think it probably makes it an easier scout.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But I also just think like Butler would look like Christian Brown does.
He would look amazing.
He would keep popping up in this, like, there's no spacing. Oh, how did he cut into an opening?
Yep.
And got a dunk or something. And then here's another thing I think about, and I would have to look at the analytics of this because I don't know what Jimmy Butler. I just know he draws fouls. Jokic is really good. I mean, at all times. But he's especially good. He's super Jokic when the Nuggets are in the bonus because he draws a lot of non-shooting fouls. And I think part of why Jokic's getting to the foul line more, Nuggets are number one, I think it's because Westbrook helps elevate Denver's early foul drawing, and then Jokic punishes you once you're in the bonus.
Yeah.
And if you added Jimmy Butler, I just wonder if the Nuggets would be in the bonus every quarter of every game. And it's like, all right, now try to guard Jokic without fouling. Because what happens is Jokic gets a switch, and then a team will wrap him up because it's like, we can't take advantage of that. But when you're in the bonus, it's like, all right, now I have to guard him with Malcolm Brogdon.
Sure.
And that's a 2 points.
No. Yeah, I don't know. I'm very like torn on this. It
would be so uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable. Yes, it takes us into the deep waters of being just another NBA team, but it also, I can see the vision, but I mean, there's very obvious pitfalls here. Just pouring that many resources into an old player feels like a really just like this is our last dance.
Yeah,
and I don't know that
unless it goes well, and then you look at it and you're like, you know what? Here's the thing about the Jokic era: we haven't had that many pieces, and there's one thing where we're like, we need this mold of player and that mold and this mold, and it might just be like, you know what? All molds work. We just need 100%. We just need good players. It actually doesn't matter if the skill sets add up to this or that.
1,000% true. Like Jokic invented this style. You don't think he can like figure out a way to play with like another guy that wants to do something different?
Yeah, I think it would be supremely uncomfortable. But guess what? Buck up, Nuggets fans. There's no comfortable path from here forward. They're all uncomfortable.
It's going to get really uncomfortable when we get word that Jimmy Butler and Jalen Pickett and Hunter Tyson and Zeke Naji and PJ Hall beat the starters in a scrimmage. That's when it will get really uncomfortable.
Jokic would love it. Unlike Cat, I think Jokic would be like, hell yeah, Jimmy, put it on. Like, get everybody going.
Vekislav saying, I wouldn't trade MPJ for I'm not vote. You know that, right? Like I wouldn't trade MPJ for Giannis, let alone Jimmy. Who do you think I am?
That's just funny.
I would trade him for Michael Porter Sr.
We got to take a break, but to put a button on this one, I'll just say this. I don't think it's a 0% chance. I think that the odds are the Nuggets are not going to go get Jimmy Butler. But I'm just saying, I don't think it's a 0% chance. All right, let's go to break. On the other side, another player Nuggets
it's a
fans
1% chance.
It's a low percentage. Another player people want, Herb Jones. Talk about him on the other side.
Ooh, guys, check out Live Well. I just checked out Live Well the other day.
With those takes, I'm not surprised.
Had a great experience, man. Live Well, the best place around, the best dispensary around. 25 convenient Colorado locations. 25 of them.
That's a lot.
All of them have a premium selection and expert service that awaits you. You walk into a Live Well, place looks great. Super professional, nice, courteous staff. They will help you get exactly what you want, no matter what you're in the market for. You can visit a Live Well dispensary. Again, 25 of them to learn more about their wide selection of cannabis flower, edibles, concentrates, and more. When you mention the code DNVR25 in the store, you get 25% off one regular price item. That's a pretty big discount. Mention code DNVR25 in store. Get 25% off one regular priced item. You can go to livewell.com today to reserve your products online. Then go in store for a quick pickup, or you can simply stop by, walk in. They'll answer all your questions about cannabis. They'll point you in the right direction. Mention code DNVR25, 25% off one regular priced item.
Damn,
just go to Live Well?
I know, right, dude?
It's time to tell you guys about Red Hawk Roofing. Play the sound, Kel. Our homies, man. Quality materials, decades of experience, quick response time. Colorado's best estimators and contractors. I'm going to tell you guys the skinny on this, man.
Also, no bigger glow up in the
No
Denver
bigger
area.
glow up. These guys are the star of stars, huge DNVR supporters. And I'm telling you, this is the truth of all of these construction adjacent jobs. There's good people around. There's good companies around. There are a lot of good workers around, but there's not a lot of good companies, man. The ones that are going to give it to you honest, they're going to walk you through it. They're not just out for a quick buck.
Yep.
A lot of these companies are out for the next paycheck, and they're looking like, I need to get this deal. I need to get this client over a barrel. Red Hawk Roofing, the glow up is real, man. They're above those types of things, and they're homies. Free. Here's how you know. No obligation roof and property inspections. Free in-depth photos, reports for all inspections. And they'll take the time. They're real people, man. You're calling, you're not getting a press this number, then that number, then this number, and they're just getting connected on a switchboard. Nope, they got actual people working for them because they are a great local Colorado success story. Support your local team means supporting local businesses like Red Hawk Roofing. So if you are looking for a new roof over your home or business, be sure to check out Red Hawk Roofing at redhawkroofing.com or call 720-771-8921 and do this for us. I'm being dead serious. Tell them DNVR sent you.
Do it.
Because they'll be like, hell yeah, we're not trading for Jimmy Butler. What were those guys on? Oh yeah, about your roof.
How well are they living?
All right, let's get back here. The other guy whose name is reported to be on the trade market is Herb Jones. I think Herb Jones, like every player in the NBA, would look great in Denver.
One of your guys.
One of my guys, man.
Yeah.
I've been high on Herb Jones.
Yeah.
Herb Jones is Peyton Watson
Yep.
with Michael Malone's trust. A little
Because he doesn't play with
a lower mistake. He's like 3 years ahead of Peyton Watson, maybe 3 or 4 years ahead of him, age-wise and experience-wise. And I just think if that was a trade you were looking to make, Herb Jones for Peyton Watson, like I love Peyton. I love him. I'm so high on him. If for whatever reason you look around and think that's not it, maybe that's a move you can make. Herb Jones is not getting 4 minutes and a half.
Yeah. Do you think he helps the Nuggets that much, though? Do you think he takes them over the top?
So the problem here is, like, when you think about Herb Jones, you're thinking, all right, well, that's a Porter trade. And you look at that one, and I go, okay, that I'm not so sure, because offensively, Jimmy Butler, I have faith, can find a way to win, to score ugly. Herb Jones, I can't. And defensively, if he's not playing with Jokic, he's in the Peyton Watson role. And what are the odds Herb Jones would come to Denver, not play with Jokic, and look like Peyton Watson, or less than Peyton Watson? Pretty high.
Probably
Pretty
would.
high.
Yeah.
Pretty high.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. See, to me, this doesn't feel like a massive upgrade. It just feels like a moderate upgrade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like I would be like I don't like that. It's like that. That's just sort of like making a trade to make a trade. It feels like you're not looking like Jimmy Butler would be transformational if
He's so old, though.
I know. But
Herb Jones is in the prime of his career.
I
He's a
agree,
hell of a
but
player.
he's not. He's a glue guy. And Jimmy Butler is a guy. I'm not going back to say. I'm just saying, like, all of these two scenarios. Like, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. This one, I'm like, that's kind of like just moving the chairs around a little bit, and you might just make people upset. I don't.
Could you go to war if it was a Michael Porter trade? Which I don't know why New Orleans would want that. They're looking long term. I think they're tear down this or that. But I don't know. Maybe it's a Michael Porter and Peyton Watson combo deal is what it takes to get done. I don't even look at the numbers.
Probably not.
But if you were getting Herb Jones, would you go to, like, all right, we're going to the playoffs again? Murray Yoke. We just need Murray to be what he was. But if you can give him Christian, Herb, Aaron Gordon, maybe you kept Peyton Watson, Westbrook, it's like, all right, that's a lot of defensive talent to throw out there. Now, Murray and Yoke,
who is
go
scoring?
Score.
I'm sorry, but who is scoring other than Jokic?
And I'm saying Murray. All roads lead to Murray has to be the version of himself that he once was. There's no way Denver gets a title, in my opinion, with Murray not being at least 95% of what he was. It might be harder this year, to be honest, just because of the spacing, but I think that's what you're counting on. You remember Jarks' article years back when he talked about the path for Denver is just give Yoke a bunch of defenders? That would be the...
Well, I don't know. They won a title with that not being the path.
I mean, kind of. They had Murray and Yoke. It was Murray and Yoke.
And Porter and, Bruce Brown.
I mean, Porter still gave you, 18 a game, 19 a game? Like, it's... I just don't think it's that crazy to think.
I just don't think the Nuggets are like... I'm still holding on to the fact that this group is not completely broken and it's not over. Like I
Totally
still see a light at the end of the tunnel with this group. I'm not completely
So Herb
out
Jones,
on it.
Herb Jones not very intriguing to you based on what it would. What if it cost Julian Strother?
Yeah, I'd do that. Sure.
I mean, I think it would cost more than that, but what if
What if it was a dollar?
Zeke Naji and Julian Strother and
the Jimmy
Jalen
Butler option
Pickett?
is more appealing than Herb Jones. Like I feel like they have a Herb Jones and Peyton Watson.
yeah. How many super chats we got here, Kale? 13. Let's get to them then. I have
Oh,
more stuff, but
lucky
we'll
number
push it to
13.
tomorrow.
Lucky number 13. You want me to read him?
Sure.
Read him. Shut up and take my money. Could this be? Short answer: no. We don't want Jimmy. Get Bruce
Always
Brown.
yelling.
Always no.
Weird that he framed it that way and not no, Adam.
Yeah. Mac Charu. Chances on MPJ and Zeke for Larry Nance Jr. and Boban.
Boban.
What you mean, Bogdan?
Bogdan, it's got to be that.
Definitely.
I think that's a deal that's like
I don't think Boban's in the league.
as likely as a deal as you're going to see. I mean, that most deals are unlikely, but that one to me makes sense.
Yes. Also, Julian and Pickett with the 31st for Cam Johnson. Then bring Justin Hall. I can't.
What's the
my head
30?
is
What's the
spinning
31st?
here. Because we won the title. I don't know. Like our first round pick. Isn't that?
I don't. Oh, the 2031 2031
pick. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Cam Johnson, I love.
That would be great.
I think he would be phenomenal here. So,
That'd be great.
Julian and Pickett in the 31st.
If that gets it done.
You're all in.
SM. Can you tell all of us which options Denver has when it comes to the trade question? Something needs to change. I'm sorry. Love from Serbia. I mean, there's endless opportunity. With Jimmy Butler just reported today to be available. Anybody could be available though if you really wanted to make a good pitch. So I don't know. It's hard to say. Their
Rockets have guys that are available. Like there are some teams out there that I think are going to make some moves. I mean, Brooklyn
buyers and sellers. Yeah,
there's some teams out there. I'll say this. I don't know that I agree with you guys. I think the Nuggets might need a trade. I don't think that I would be shocked if the Nuggets won a title with the rosters currently constructed. Now the trade could be a small one. It could be a thing where you're just picking up a 7th, 8th guy,
getting a Bruce Brown,
but not him, but somebody of that nature. But to me, I look at it and I go, I just don't. I think the Nuggets are one guy short at minimum at the moment, and Murray short,
right, of course. Let's see, Sasha, and how realistic is a Nuggets trade this season? Time Lord would save a lot of problems, except for he's always hurt.
Yeah, talking about always
on the bench for the backup 4 or 5. The Blazers are looking to trade him. Probably has he played this season?
Probably. I mean, a little. People love to bring up Robert Williams. In theory, great, but he
talk about a guy that's
he
always
just gets
hurt.
hurt. I mean, that's just what happens. He's gonna get hurt.
Also, what are he's the exact he's right at the line of I'm like, well, is he gonna be Thomas Bryant? You know, you get him here, and it's like he's not finishing anything or blocking any shots, and you're like, well.
And he's late for everything. That's why he has the nickname Time Lord. James Davis, we need a term for old max contracts, like Max Classic, because MPJ's contract is closer to Quickly's than Butler's.
Yeah.
I mean, he is old. That is true.
We should say
no. He means
Jimmy
like
has a Max
previous,
Classic.
like max contract from a couple years ago.
Oh, right. Yeah, that $50 million is insane, man. $50 million for 1 year,
bro. That's a lot.
That's a lot of million.
And then yet somehow Juan Soto signed for the gross national product of a small country.
Yeah,
baseball makes no goddamn sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
Where's this money coming from? I guess because they play a billion games. Why so serious? Just want to let you guys know that Jokigami is becoming a buzzword around Nuggets Nation in Japan, mainly because Gami means a god in Japanese.
Hell yeah, Jokic, God Yoke. That's so perfect.
Holy smokes.
Oh, wow.
God Yoke. Oh, that is so cool.
Jokic,
can you imagine if we just found out we're popular in Japan? They're like, you guys didn't know?
I would be more surprised to find out we were popular in Denver. That would be a big revelation.
You guys didn't know, man? Oh, yeah, Harrison Wind. Oh, yeah.
Wind means... it also means God.
Wind means God. Jesus.
Yeah. Ulysses Ventura. Vibes are back if they smoke the Clippers and Suns. That's what... We were talking earlier, like this first part of the season, it's like, oh my God, they've only played 20 games. And then like 3 weeks later, it's like, well, they've played 21 games now. So the NBA Cup is a scourge on the goddamn schedule, the early schedule. It is insane.
I just know they're screwed the rest of the way because somehow they have 61 games to go.
Scourge.
And there's like 45 days left in the season. I don't know how it's going to work, Kale.
I thought, like, when I heard about the Cup, I thought it would just fit in so much more seamlessly. We've had like,
didn't it fit in more last year?
It feels really weird.
I don't know.
We've had like 2
mini off seasons already.
Dude, we're having nothing but mini off.
We're in an All-Star break right now.
But we have not even hit Jokić
first All-Star break.
We've had 2 huge breaks and we're not even to Jokić.
We're not into Jokić. We're talking about major trades. This stinks.
The Nuggets just have back-to-backs from here until April.
NBA Cup, you stink. Emirates. Joshua Sanchez, it seems more difficult to bring in another strong personality like Jimmy around Jamal. I could be wrong.
It might be the thing that's needed, though, man. I'm telling you, it might be the exact thing that's needed.
You need a guy that's in practice going like this to you. Like,
nonstop. Man, everyone just bullies Jamal, and it's like, hey, get right, man.
Listen, make him uncomfortable. We're uncomfortable. Make him uncomfortable. Ulysses Ventura, Get LaMelo Ball in Ball Arena. That would be great. The ball. We started calling it the Ball Arena. And
Hey,
we lose,
man.
we lose 90 to 100 games a year, just like the Rockies.
Lonzo Ball, though. Lonzo Ball.
Oh, my God.
No, I'm still haven't given up on that one.
Andrew Boley. Jokic getting Jimmy and Russ rings would be mythic.
So hold up a second. There's something to this, man. Jimmy Butler and Russell Westbrook are very beloved in the era. Very beloved. Ringless.
Yeah.
If Yoke's the one that delivered them a ring,
you-
it would actually be incredible.
Gil's Arena would be like, Jokic is incredible. He finally got some real hoopers. Some good.
I'm telling you, man, that would be a real thing that would happen. And then, like, you would have
get Dwight Howard's respect.
You would have two guys. Like, there's some guys they retired. You never hear from them again, right? They were good players, but Tim Duncan, where is he? What's his takes? We don't know. Jimmy Butler and Westbrook, you'll hear from for the next 10, 15 years. If they're like, there's no one like Yoke, I'll tell you right now. I'd be like, you know
I
what?
know.
Yeah,
I'll
that'd be
live
kinda
off of
sick.
that.
Yeah.
I
But
could
also,
live off
again,
that
on Gil's Arena, they'd be like, man, Jimmy really got Jokic that ring.
Hey, man, I'm fine with it. Whatever.
Jason Cap, Mara's Law, on far enough timeline, Jokic can solve any basketball problem, which leads to a winning solution. Applies to Brody and Jimmy.
And to be honest,
Well,
it's
we're-
not that long of a timeline.
We're
It's
trying
like 3
to see if
games.
he can solve the toughest problem this year.
Also, isn't that Jokic Law? I mean, like, just because Adam has identified that Jokic
Yeah,
is
how did
good.
I get this long? Hell yeah.
Adam's like,
No, that was like-
I've
that's like
seen
what I've
what
said.
others can't see. Jokic is good. Yeah, great. He gets Boy D Sauce. After the title, I think Nikola's mindset has changed from I want to win to I have to win.
Yeah.
Think LeBron's mindset compared to MJ's. And I love it. You're right.
I think
You're-
Yoke has that fire in him that is so it never can be satisfied, and that's what you love, man. And once you retire, hopefully you can restructure your brain chemistry. But he definitely seems to me to. I agree with that very much.
I also like the idea. This is the only way that I like this, that Jokic doesn't stay in the U.S., that he clearly has another life outside of basketball and all this stuff, so that it's like, if I'm giving my time to this, I'm going to make it meaningful.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
this is not necessarily what I want to be, but like, I'm here right now. I'm going to make this meaningful. I'd rather be with my horses, but I'm going to do this. Tamir Tahir. Jimmy for MPJ plus package, too risky. He's only leaving to get an extension. Rather trade Mike package for 3-and-D players like Cam Johnson and DFS.
Sure. The funny thing is, I think the price on Jimmy is actually lower because of that, because he's heading out. So it could be.
We'll see. Ulysses Ventura, trade with their Bulls. They love getting fleeced. Well, listen.
Bulls don't have any good players. That's the tough part.
Lonzo
If we
Ball.
got Matas, I would be very happy. That is my guy.
Lonzo
That's
Ball just
officially
sitting
my
there.
guy. Matas, D-line. All right.
Would you trade Lonzo for MPJ?
No. But maybe. I love Lonzo on Yoke's team would be on. I mean, you guys.
Dude,
I'm telling
I
you.
know. Like, imagine if he could actually play in a game.
I know, dude. Nobody would look better in street clothes next to
Lonzo
Nikola
with
Jokic.
Denver Nuggets' medical training staff.
my God.
Oh, man.
Legendary. Legendary. Shut up and take my money. No, Adam. No, Eric.
There we go.
We want Herb plus Bruce Brown and KCP back.
All right. Well, we're gonna have to give up Pickett on that if we're gonna get those three guys.
Noah Linden, Jimmy Butler on the Nuggets sounds fabulous.
I don't know if that means good or bad.
I think fabulous is a good thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Hard to,
Fabulous.
dude,
Delicious.
can you imagine-
Fabricated and delicious. Is that what it
Yeah,
is?
delicious is always good. That's
There you
good. Wow, we did it, guys. We made it through.
We made it through
Another
a trade
show
show.
in the books.
More. I still have some stuff I want to talk about this week, though, so I'm kind of excited with these off days.
Lucky for
to
you,
get it
we
through.
have a bunch more shows with no games.
More off day shows ahead. Thanks to everybody that tuned in with us, spent their hour with us. Hit that like button on the way out.
Let's go.
See you tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.